Hello and welcome to this video. Today we'll be talking about, basically we'll be starting a series of videos where I'll be talking about React.js best practices. Okay, so that it'll be series of around 30, 40 or more than that videos also. So today is the first topic. So let me share my screen and then we'll start talking about it. Okay, so if you know, there are a lot of things that we don't want to do, but unknowingly we are doing it while we are coding, whether in office or in personal projects, where some best practices we have to follow. One of them is, so I've created this basically the folder where I'll be doing all these things. So common mistakes to avoid. There will be more sections in that. So these are the simple mistakes that I'm trying to resolve or trying to address, and then we'll go with the larger one. Okay. Okay, you can create a video. I mean, I'll be uploading this to GitHub so you can get all the code there. No worries. But if you want to do it along with me, you can do it. Pause the video, you can do it. Okay. So first of all, let me tell you about what the first common mistake is: the async use state. So basically, when you are using a use state variable and you update the use state variable, right, through a input, maybe through a select box or any form element or any input element or a select element or toggling, anything you do, and you want to update the use state variable, and then you expect and you use it immediately. But the problem is, since Usestate is async, it doesn't immediately updates. Although you are doing it, updating a set state you are doing, it is updating. You are expecting that the latest value should be available, but it's not available immediately. Obviously, there are other ways in which you can do it, which you shouldn't do it until and unless it is mandatory or it is extremely essential or no other techniques used. Um, Generally, Usestate is async, means it is not updated immediately. It will update, you will get the updated value only in the next iteration. Okay, but we want it immediately. So then how to solve it without using a kind of a callback function inside? So you can use a callback function, you take the previous value and then you can try to update it to a new value. That we can do it. That will be updated immediately. But we don't want to do it regularly. You shouldn't do it regularly, right? Because it will create other kind of problem. That's the reason we don't rely more on hooks. So we generally use either a React context or we use a Redux to kind of do similar activities. So if you are having a multi-step form or a big form where a lot of values are there, and then when you click on the save button, you see the updated code immediately, right? So or maybe you are doing something and you want to see in the same form field that the value is getting updated immediately. That will not happen if you that won't happen if you are using only hooks. You should use the technique that I'm telling you now, or you can use something like context or any statement like Redux or just and or anything you have to use to do it, right? So now the issue is Usestate is async and it is not, you will not get the value, updated value immediately. So you have to think about some techniques to do it. Okay. Now let me create the scenario first. So let me write a input variable. So let me create a input. We are using a input to create this. Okay. So here in the text, let me write a on change. Okay. And the on change will be having a handle change. Okay. Handle change, simple handle input. Okay, this is simple variable function that will be calling when you are writing something. Okay, and here, okay, AI is suggesting me something, but I'll not use that. Okay, let me write the code first. So here it is saying input value. Okay, and then it is saying set input value. Okay, let's use AI's. Okay, uh now it is suggesting the handle input also. Okay, let's use handle input as well, not in the return. That's the reason we shouldn't use AI much. Okay, now you can write the handle input. I'll just use Copilot suggestion and then we can do it. So basically what we are doing it here, we are having input element. I am typing something, and then when I'm typing something, the change event will be triggered and I will get the event object here because this is the event that is happening on change event, and I'll get the target dot value. That means the value that I'm typed in the input element that is visible in the kind of I'll be getting over here, and then I'm basically using the set input value to update the state variable. State variable is this input value. Okay, now I am expecting that the value should be since I've updated, I'm expecting the value should be here immediately when I log it, but you will see that it will not be there. Okay, so let me open the browser, I can have the browser on the right side. So let me have these on the right side, and let me have these on the left side. Okay, so that it will look side by side. Let me bring it like this. This is nice. Okay, yeah. So now whenever I'm typing something, I'm expecting that I'll be logging it. Okay, so let me type 1. Do you see any value? No, there is no value, because I have written 1 over here. The handle input got triggered. So in target.value, I'm having 1 over here. The input value is expected to have 1. It has 1, but it has not updated immediately, because when the execution happens in line number 7 is executed, then the compiler comes to line number 8 and it is expecting that you should have the value of 1. Initially we have the value of empty string. It is expected that we have to have a value of 1, but it will not be available, because Usestate is by default async. It does not updates the value immediately, but after one rendering. Okay, now but when I type here 2, right, if I type here 2, you see I'm getting log of input value is 1, which means that whenever I typed the value 2, this got triggered, the value here is 2 again. But whenever when line number 8 is getting executed, the value that was there previously 1, okay, that is displayed. I mean, that is there. The 2 is not updated. So basically what happens is that whenever I'm kind of the value is updated here, it re-renders. So state variable is, whenever you update the state variable, it re-renders the particular component. This is the component that gets re-rendered. So when it gets re-rendered, you see the updated value. Okay, you see the updated value. But when you are using it, you will not get the updated value. Now if I have a value, see, if I write here value, okay, something like this. Okay, Copilot suggested this. When I'm writing here value, you see you get 1, 2. If I type 3, you will see immediately it will be updated. See, it got updated. But the log, in the log, you see the value is still 1, 2. This got updated because whenever it is happening set input value, it is re-rendering it. Since it is re-rendering, it is not looking like re-rendering. Only when you slow down, because it happens in a very microsecond, so you will not see it. Basically, the screen, basically this component is getting re-rendered. The entire application is getting re-rendered because without re-rendering the route, without re-rendering, refreshing the route, or re-rendering without refreshing the route, it's re-rendering the component, not the route. So route is a separate thing. It's re-rendering the component. Basically, it is refreshing the component, not the route. Okay, so okay, power went away. So that's the reason whenever I'm having a value here, this is getting updated because of the re-render, but this is not updated because it is asynchronously updating it. Okay, now what is the solution? The solution, you can do something like this, is that instead of using input value, you use the event.target. If you want it immediately, you want to do something event.target.value, target.value. Okay, if you want to use it immediately, then you can use it. Like, if I let me refresh again, now if I type 4, okay, let me clear everything. If I type here 4, you see both the places it will get updated. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 immediately is happening. Why? Because I'm just directly using the target.value I'm using. That you can log it here, or if you want to pass some function, like if I want to pass this set the value, set the value is one function I want it. So I can write here event target.value. I can pass it, and then I can pass it and I can use it. But if you pass your input value, you will not get the same result. It will not get updated if you pass the input value, because it is not updated immediately. Basically, you update it here and use the target.value. That is one thing, you can do. Or there is one more way, is that you let the you use it after the rendering happens. So basically what I'm trying to say is, this is, let me comment this part. Okay, after the, so I update this, then the re-rendering happens, right? So after the re-rendering has happened, then I can call the function, or I can log something. Like, after the re-rendering has happened, so suppose I just want to kind of, I just want to use it outside. Let me create a function. Okay, so set the value that I created earlier. Set the value. Okay, now the set the value function, it doesn't want to do. Okay, power came. I don't want to do anything here because I already have the value set it. I just want to use the value, and that value is nothing but the input value, right? Yeah. So I just don't want to use this guy. I just want to use the value, input value. I just want to update the input value. And when I'll call, if I call this particular function here, it will not help me because the state is not updated yet, right? So the state is not updated here. What happened here? Oh, I'm not written here const. Here if I call, the input value has not updated at this place, that doesn't it will not work. You see, it will not work. So again the let me refresh again. Okay. So let me write here 1. You see, the value should be 1, but the value is, so it is the same thing, right? Now I should call these in some other way, like I can use this in a Usestate and I can do it like but Usestate is a separate constant separate constant concept altogether. So I'm telling that, okay, so whenever the input value changes, then you can call this particular value. So now the input value will change because it will get rendered, right? It will get rendered. So the re-rendered after the set input value will get re-rendered. So the input value has changed now. So you call this set the value and then you can use it. So that is the way in which we can use it. Okay. So now if you see here, if I just save this guy, let me clear everything. If I write here 1, the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. But to do, you observe, right, what happened. So what we are trying to solve is Usestate update is async. So don't use the value directly. Okay. If you want to use the value directly, then you use the event targeted value. That means I can call this at the value or any other function by passing the event targeted value directly. You can use it. If you don't want to do in that manner, you want to use the state variable only, which is the correct way. If you want to use it, don't use it here immediately when I'm updating it. You use it in a use effect that you can do it, or else for simple cases just do a log or just do a call a function multiple times, that we can do, but that ideally we shouldn't do it. Okay, so two solutions are there. One is use the target dot value, that is one. Second, you do in this manner. Okay, so that is how you manage async Usestate, or the other way is use a context API to do it, or use state management. Whenever the form value is inputted, you pass the payload, and obviously the payload you will pass at each form element. You can pass it. It's very complex form, multi-step form, or you can do it a object-based form. You can create state variable, and then that will be a local state form object where it will be having all the form fields value it will be having, and then you update it once, because that is how the state variable generally works. And that is when you click the save button of the form, then you do a payload, send the payload to the Redux, and then it does it. So the Redux will update it. Or you can have, for every element you can have we kind of have a Redux variable, and then you can send the payload. It depends on you. That is for complex use cases. For simple use cases, do in this manner: pass the target dot value, okay, or use a use effect. Okay, yeah. So that is about this video. I mean, I'll be having a lot of similar videos later. Okay, and then basically we'll be talking about a lot of things. I'll stop share. Okay, we'll be talking about a lot of problems that we face in React. I think more than 100 videos will come into picture in the next few months. So hope you like this video. Please share and subscribe to the channel. If you are not subscribed, share this video and let me, okay, on what other topics you want the video. Thank you very much.